4,000 years ago, the world's most advanced civilization simply vanished without a trace. No bodies, no signs of war, no explanation. Just empty cities where millions once thrived. This is the mystery of the Indus Valley Civilization, one of history's greatest unsolved puzzles. In the sprawling river valleys of what is now Pakistan and northwest India, an extraordinary society had flourished for over 1,000 years. The Harappan people, as archaeologists call them, had built something unprecedented in human history: the world's first planned cities, complete with sophisticated drainage systems, standardized weights and measures, and a script that remains undeciphered to this day. By 2600 BCE, their civilization stretched across an area larger than Egypt and Mesopotamia combined. Harappa and Mohenjo-daro, their greatest cities, housed populations that may have reached 40,000 people each. Massive urban centers for their time. These weren't crude settlements, but marvels of ancient engineering. Every house had access to water and drainage. The streets ran in perfect grids. Public baths and granaries served the community with clockwork efficiency. The Harappan people were master craftsmen and traders. Their standardized brick sizes, always in the ratio 4:2:1, allowed for uniform construction across hundreds of miles. They created intricate jewelry, carved seals depicting mysterious animals and symbols, and traded goods from the Arabian Sea to Central Asia. Their merchants sailed to Mesopotamia, where cuneiform tablets record transactions with the people of Meluhha, likely their name for the Indus lands. But perhaps most remarkably, this was a civilization that seemed to thrive without kings or armies. Unlike their contemporaries in Egypt and Mesopotamia, archaeologists have found no palaces, no royal tombs, no weapons of war. The Harappans appear to have governed themselves through some form of collective leadership, maintaining order and prosperity for centuries without the iron fist of autocracy. Then, around 1900 BCE, cracks began to appear in this seemingly perfect society. The first signs of decline weren't dramatic collapses or burning cities. Instead, they were subtle changes that archaeologists can detect in the archaeological record. The quality of pottery began to deteriorate. The careful urban planning that had defined Harappan cities for generations started to break down. Streets were no longer maintained with the same precision. Houses were subdivided into smaller units, suggesting overcrowding or economic stress. The standardized weights and measures that had facilitated trade across the vast Harappan territory began to vary from city to city. This breakdown in standardization suggests that the central authority, whatever form it took, was losing its grip on the far-flung settlements of the civilization. By 1800 BCE, many of the smaller Harappan settlements had been abandoned entirely. The great cities of Harappa and Mohenjo-daro continued to function, but they were shadows of their former selves. The sophisticated drainage systems fell into disrepair. Squatters built crude structures in what had once been grand public spaces. What could have caused such a comprehensive collapse? For decades, archaeologists and historians have proposed various theories, each more intriguing than the last. The Aryan invasion theory, popular in the early 20th century, suggested that nomadic warriors from Central Asia swept down and conquered the peaceful Harappans. However, modern archaeology has found little evidence of widespread violence or sudden destruction. The Harappan cities show signs of gradual abandonment, not conquest. Climate change presents a more compelling explanation. Around 2200 BCE, a global cooling event began to affect weather patterns across the ancient world. In the Indus region, this translated to a weakening of the monsoon rains that fed the great rivers. The Ghaggar-Hakra river system, which may have been larger than the Indus itself during Harappan times, began to dry up. As the rivers shrank, the agricultural foundation of Harappan civilization crumbled. The surplus grain that had supported large urban populations dwindled. Trade routes that depended on river transport became unreliable. The very water that had made their sophisticated drainage systems necessary began to disappear. As conditions worsened, the population began to migrate. Some moved eastward into the Ganges Valley, where they may have intermingled with other groups to form the foundations of later Indian civilization. Others headed south into Gujarat and beyond. The knowledge and skills of the Harappans didn't vanish entirely. They were absorbed into the emerging cultures of the subcontinent. By 1300 BCE, the great Harappan cities stood empty, their streets silent after more than a millennium of bustling activity. The undeciphered Harappan script tantalizes us with the promise of answers. Over 4,000 inscriptions have been found, but they remain stubbornly silent about the thoughts, beliefs, and experiences of their creators. Unlike the Rosetta Stone that unlocked Egyptian hieroglyphs, no bilingual text has been discovered to crack the Harappan code. Today, as we face our own challenges of climate change, resource management, and urban planning, the story of the Harappans serves as both inspiration and warning. Their civilization shows us the heights that human cooperation can achieve, while their disappearance reminds us of the fragility of even the most sophisticated societies. The mystery of why the Indus Valley Civilization vanished may never be fully solved. But in their ruins, we find not just the remains of a lost people, but a mirror reflecting our own hopes and fears about the future of human civilization. In the end, perhaps that's the most valuable discovery of all. If you enjoyed this story, please hit the like button and subscribe for more untold history every single day. See you in the next one.